Coming in hot from Arizona, this is Trevor
and Troy Howard.
And you're on So Tell Us Time. You can have everything you want in your business. Sometimes you just need a little help.
Every business owner would love to charge more for their services, but sometimes you can sacrifice long-term loyalty for a short-term profit.
Creating the right rituals is key to your business having success.
Are you tired of competing with your competitors? Guess what? You don't have to compete if you create.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of So Tell Us Time. Well, it's going to be a good day today because we're going to talk about something super fun. We're going to be talking about this too shall pass. Yes, doesn't that sound like a fun topic? This too shall pass. Well, this is the thing. Troy and I have thousands and thousands of clients all over the world, and there was a common theme. July sucked. July sucked. And I think that most of you are, if not all of you, are going to feel that same way. July was just a horrible month. In fact, I have clients that they're like, that is the worst month I've ever had in the history of my business, which is totally crazy. And there's many reasons why, and people will debate why. And I think if you just turn on the news, they'll give you every reason why July sucked. But it doesn't really matter. The fact is, it did. July was tough for a lot of businesses. So today we're going to talk about keeping you from walking off that ledge, because that's what we did. Troy and I spent more time in our consulting businesses this last month because, today is August 1st. Hallelujah. We're looking for August to be way better than July. But with people not knowing that and the unknown of like, is this the precursor to the rest of the year? People, of course, want to take the worst and freak out. And usually that's the people who are watching the news. So, first thing is turn the news off and maybe turn your social media off too. That's probably a really good thing. In fact, my phone broke. If you follow me on social media, my phone totally broke. I had no cell service other than Wi-Fi for the weekend. And it was actually so nice. It was great. No phone calls bombarding me, bunches of text messages. I was like, this is a great break. We all need to take a sabbatical from social media, from the news, and from our cell phones in general, to be honest. It was a wonderful time. But we spent more time this last month in our consulting businesses talking people off that ledge than we did doing anything else. And really what it was is that people started to freak out. They were like, this is the worst month ever. I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I'm barely going to pay my bills. I had one person tell me, like, I'm not even gonna be able to pay myself, which as entrepreneurs, we know that happens from time to time. And the thing was, people, they wanted to make rash decisions. We talked more people out of canceling marketing with their marketing agency. So people would call us up and say, hey, should I cancel my SEO guy? Should I cancel my PPC guy? Should I cancel my flyers? What should I do? And we were like, listen, it's a very simple mathematical equation to me is if you're, let's say, down 50%, but if you know your numbers, like we talk about, and Troy's going to get into this a little bit more here, but if you know your numbers, like we always are preaching, all you have to do is say, how many leads did I get this month in July, even though July sucked and I'm down half of what I normally was? How many leads came from marketing? How many conversions did I have and how much money did I make? And if the answer is that you couldn't survive without that money that you made, then the answer to your question of should I cancel this? Should I do this? Should I make a rash, crazy decision? Is no, because then you wouldn't survive. And that's what's crazy to me is that's what people want to do. They're like, oh my gosh, they freak out. And they're like, I got to save money. I got to not spend money. But they don't realize if they wouldn't have spent that money, then they wouldn't have even made as much as they did. So I don't want to go too much into it, but that's what we're talking about today. And I think this is an important one for you. And if you hey, maybe July was okay for you, no big deal. That's okay. Still listen, because what we're talking about today is very important. And you don't know when your July could hit. What if, everybody's July that sucked is your August or September? So pay attention. Let's get going, Troy.
All right. So Trevor hit on a couple of the points, and we'll just go into a little bit more detail on those. But the first one is don't make a rash decision. Like, don't just freak out and, cancel all your marketing, fire employees, whatever it might be, just because of 1 month. And that's really important, right? You especially don't want to judge everything on your last interactions. And this is really important because, for all of you who are a salesperson, or maybe you have salespeople that work for you, you quickly learn when you work with a sales team that the last 3 things that happen to them, if, let's say it's 3 leads that come in that are bad, then every lead is bad.
Yep.
Every single lead that month has been totally bad. Yep. If the last 3 people bought, it's, oh my gosh, these are the best leads we've ever had in our entire life. They're like gold. So whatever the last 3 things happen to them, that's where they judge the entire, month and everything off of.
Yeah.
And as business owners, we can't do that, right? We have to look at the facts. We can't just go off emotional decisions, and we can't just make rash decisions that are going to affect our business. One of the things I love that Trevor always tells people when we sit down and we talk with them is, look, the decision you make today is going to change your business in 6 months.
Yes.
So it's really important to make sure that you're making the right decision now, because it's going to affect your business 6 months down the road.
That's right.
And if you make the wrong decision 6 months down the road, you're going to be like, oh, shoot, that's really killing my business. And now I'm doing even worse than I was. But again, now you're going to make a decision now, and then you got to wait for that decision to take effect, right?
That's right. And that's right. And that's something I want to jump in, because I'm telling people all the time, like, look, you have to start, like, you can't wait until it's falling apart to make these choices and try to move forward. I'm sorry, but when you're on your last credit card charge and you're like, I want to spend it with you. Sorry, that's not going to work. You should have done this 6 months ago. You should have started that process 6 months ago so that you could be in a better spot today. But you want to start right now, and you want it to affect now. And it doesn't work like that.
Exactly. So again, first thing is, don't make a rash decision.
Yep.
Second thing is, know your numbers. And we talk about this all the time, and you're probably like, oh my gosh, guys, I know. I'm supposed to know my numbers.
But do you know? Do you really?
Do you really know your numbers?
You may know, but you may not be doing it.
Yep. And Trevor kind of ran through this really well. He said, basically what you want to look at is, how many sales did you get from your marketing this month? Mm-hmm. And then you can look at, how much did you spend? How much did you make? Right? And then that's how you make a decision. And then, like Trevor said, could you have survived this month without those sales?
Right.
Could you have actually survived the month without those sales? And then again, if something has been working and the numbers still make sense, then trust in the numbers. Mm-hmm. Don't freak out. Don't change it, because, well, what if they don't work anymore? Well, they worked in the past.
Yep.
They still seem to be working. So have some trust in those numbers going forward. Now, if those numbers change and they aren't working anymore, then you can make a decision based on those numbers. But don't just make that rash decision of, well, normally I get this many leads and I got less leads, so I'm going to totally cut it off.
Yeah.
No. Right? So, and the other thing that I wanted to talk about today too, which I think is really, really important, is keep a positive attitude. Totally. And people don't give this enough weight. But, if you're always telling everybody, oh man, we're in a recession, everybody's holding on to their money, what are those people going to do? They're going to hold on to their money, and they're not going to spend it. And then they go tell people, hey, we're in a recession, everybody's holding on to their money. And you see how it just trickles out? So if we're all just saying these negative things, we're just making it worse, right? So stop telling your employees that everything is bad. How many times do business owners walk in there like, oh my gosh, this month sucks. You guys aren't getting enough sales, right? And, we're not going to be able to keep going like this. What does an employee hear when you say that? I need to find a new
job.
Exactly. Are they focused on closing more sales for you, or are they focused on finding a new job? Right. So have a positive attitude when it comes to your employees, to your customers. Because remember, pessimism is contagious, right? It just spreads like wildfires. So you want to be as positive as you possibly can with your employees, your customers, everybody, to keep them excited. So I think that's a real big part. And I just wanted to recap real quick. We actually just dealt with this with, like Trevor said, we've been dealing with this with a lot of customers. But I'm going to just kind of recap. In a previous episode, we talked about a company that came to us and just said, "Hey, look, I'm canceling all the marketing, everything I'm doing, because my business is down 50% from what it was last year. None of my marketing's working." And of course, what did we do? We did exactly what we were telling you to do.
Yes.
We said, okay, awesome. Let's take a look at what you spent. Let's take a look at, okay, how many jobs did you close? Well, I don't know. Okay, well, how much money did you make off those jobs? Oh, I don't know. Okay, well, then why do you say that the marketing doesn't work? Well, I'm down 50%, and my sales guy says that the leads are garbage.
Yeah.
Right? And if you remember from that episode, again, I would highly suggest going back and listening to it. But when we actually went and figured out all of the numbers, they did amazing. Like they made so much money off of the leads that came in versus what they were spending. And Trevor, again, literally asked them the question that we brought up today: could you have survived without those sales? And they're like, oh, no, absolutely not. Like, we'd be dead in the water if we didn't have those sales.
Yep.
So again, then why are you trying to jump off the ledge?
Yeah. Remember, your sales people are like the little chicken that's running around going, "The sky is falling, the sky is falling." The thing is, it's like Troy already said, whatever happened in the last 3 leads or last 3 sales calls or last 3 appointments is what's happening constantly all across the board and everything, blah, blah, blah. But like, to give you the numbers and to the tune of like, they had spent $20,000 and produced $130,000 off of that. That's awesome. That was a good return on investment. We spend $250,000 a year on PPC alone, just one avenue of revenue for us, right? One avenue of leads. And we produce almost $1 million off of that every year. But my guys will literally a few times a month sit in our weekly meetings and go, "These leads suck. These are the worst." And I'm like, cool, let's shut them off. Because they also equate to like 60% of your total leads, dudes. So that means next month you're going to have 60% less leads. So you're going to close more? You're like, "Oh, no, don't do that." And I already know I'm not going to do that, because for the money I'm spending, I'm going to make that money back plus a lot more. So you can't just always, and don't, make sure you as the business owner isn't the freaking chicken running around saying the sky's falling to everybody. That's terrible. But I think a lot of times we end up doing it. I think we do, right?
Yep, absolutely. And just actually, I'm glad you brought up our sales team, Trevor, because that made me think about, like we talked about, keeping a positive attitude.
Yeah.
Our sales guys were having a tough month last month.
Oh, yeah.
They were struggling. And all of a sudden, they're like, "You know what? I'm changing my attitude and I'm going to crush it." And literally, our director of sales was like, "You watch, I'm going to get so many sales in the last couple of days. It's going to blow your mind." And he walked in to the office today to talk to Trevor and I, and he's like, "Dude," he's like, "have you seen what I've done in the last couple of days?" Yep. And he increased his sales by like 25% in just a few days of the month.
Yeah.
Because his attitude changed. Before, he was like, "July sucks, nobody's buying, blah, 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 blah." And once his attitude changed, he started crushing sales again. So do not discount the positive attitude.
Oh, absolutely. And listen, the motivation, like he changed his attitude, but he's one of those guys, right? Like he's going to crank, he's going to hustle, he's going to make it work. He's going to knock doors. He's going to call everybody he knows. And that's why he's the director of sales for us. But also that kind of attitude, that kind of positivity, that kind of drive attracts those kind of people into his life. So he's surrounded by those people. And one of those people is his wife. And I like what he said. I'm going to edit it just a little bit. But she lit a fire under him on Friday and said, it's almost the end of the week. So she torched him and said, you get to work. You don't come home until you have done it. And he was like, yeah, like he was motivated. And he did. He crushed it. So again, it's true. You will attract through your attitude the type of people that are around you. So you should take a look. That's just a totally different life lesson. Take a look at the people around you. And if you look at them and you go, man, these are poo-poo people. I got a lot of poopy people around me. Well, guess what? You're probably putting off a poopy attitude. That's right. And we do a PG or G version here. So it's poopy. You had poopy people with a poopy attitude.
Well, and I think that brings up another really good point, Trevor, before we end. Your attitude, when you walk in, let's say you're walking in to give somebody a quote on a job.
Yeah.
If you walk in with the attitude that nobody's spending money, nobody's buying, then guess what? Yep. They're not buying from you.
That's right.
They're not going to do it.
That's right.
You've got to have the right attitude as well, because you can feel the attitude when you walk in the door.
That's right.
So,
and here's the thing is one last thing, because we keep going one last thing, but it's because we got good stuff. And I told you this was going to be a good one, but it's like we learned from Ron. Troy and I obviously learned from Ron, and Ron told me stories of how he was literally the guy. He was the sales director that they sent the worst of the worst salesmen to. Like they gave him the poo-poo people, okay? And he would take them and turn them into champions. And one of the biggest things he taught them was you have an attitude that you're already going to lose before you walk in the door. What do you think's going to happen? You already are like, well, they're probably not going to want to buy. Well, it's just a white listing. This is a crappy lead, crappy client, never bought in the past. Like he's like, you are literally putting out into the universe right in front of you. You're manifesting like what is going to happen before it happens. And so he would work with them on their minds and on their attitudes and their personalities. And they would go from being the poo-poo people to the top dogs. So there's a lot of weight behind what Troy and I are talking about right now. Phenomenal. A lot of weight. Go listen to How to Win Friends and Influence People. If you have never listened to that one, you need it. Trust me. All right, let's jump out of this one. Let's get these guys on the road.
All right, get the homework going.
Homework. Take a breath. Take a breath. And then review your numbers. And then move forward with a positive attitude for the rest of the year. If you take a breath, you'll realize it's not as bad as I thought it was. And then you'll say, but I am motivated to get it done. And you will feel confident doing that, knowing your numbers. And that's why we preach what we preach every day. All right, guys, we love you. We appreciate you. We always have so much fun with you on these episodes. We hope you guys do. I think we know that you do because you hit us up, you let us know, and we love your emails. We love your Facebook messages, your Instagram messages, everything. We love YouTube, all the YouTube comments. It's phenomenal. We love you and appreciate you. And let me tell you something. If you don't know how to follow the numbers, if you don't know how to track the numbers and see the numbers, and you listen to the end of this podcast, then you know what? You're a winner. So you're the type of person that we want to work with. You need what we've got because we can help you know those numbers. Don't guess. Don't rely on your sales rep who, is just pissed about the last couple of leads or whatever. Know your numbers. Get in touch with us. If you need that, get in touch with us. All right. We love you. Appreciate you. We will check you guys on the next episode of So Tell Us Time.